All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce's Coffee and Conversation, where we host virtually every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. Coffee and Conversation is a very relaxed TED Talk style conversation where you are presenting on something in your industry to educate and inform others. Today we have Zubaidah DeWalt. She is going to be speaking on the state of housing, which is going to be a very, very fascinating conversation I have been waiting months to hear. Um, so feel free during the conversation, if you have any questions, feel free to type that in the chat on Facebook Live. Feel free to type your questions, inquiries in the chat, and Tiffany, Laura, or myself, Jason, will answer those questions. And keep in mind, at the end of Coffee and Conversation, there will be a time for Q&A and reflection as well. So Zubaidah, we're going to do, I think Tiffany's going to start with introductions.
Oh, I see Gina. Let me admit her really quick. All right, I'm going to go around the screen. Just tell us your name and what company you're with. I will start with Cindy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Keidel of Keidel Business Coaching. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Deaton with LD Images Photography, and my husband Jim is also part of the business. We have a home studio in Fairfield Township, Ohio.
Thanks for being here. John.
Good morning. I'm John with Rhodes Life Coaching here in Hamilton.
Okay. Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily Helmers with Cincinnati State.
Awesome. Thanks for being here today. And Gina.
Good morning. We're getting close to Aqua Adventures at Land of Illusion. Would love to have you guys out, and we're trying to plan maybe a little after hours chamber event. So I'll be sure to let you guys know.
Nice. Laura.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Merrill with the Greater Hamilton Chamber.
And I did not say my name. I'm Tiffany Grubb, Director of Marketing, Greater Hamilton Chamber. And then Jason, you introduced yourself. So are we turning it over to Zubaidah now?
Think so.
All right. Good morning. My name is Zubaidah DeWalt. Everybody calls me Zoo for short, which is perfectly fine. I am a full-time realtor with Comey Shepherd. I've been in real estate for a little over 5 years now. Started out in corporate America at UPS for about 20 years and decided to make the switch over to real estate. I absolutely love what I do, helping people navigate one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make in your life. It's my absolute pleasure. It's just something that I'm grateful and blessed to be able to do. So today we'll talk about the state of the market. We'll dive into the spring market, some information for buyers, some information for sellers. We'll take a look at some statistics for March 2025 regarding where things are and projections of what we can expect to happen this spring market as well. So I'm going to pull up my presentation. 1 second. Share my screen here.
And Zubaidah, while you're pulling that up, did you also want me to send this out to all the attendees later today?
Yes, I would like that, please.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Let me share my screen first. There we go. Okay. Sharing is not turned on. Okay, so I sent the request and
is there something in the settings that has to share screen?
She just has to be a co-host.
She should be good.
Can you see my screen? Not
Here,
yet.
try again.
Okay, let me go to share. Okay, there we go. So this is perfect. And that's what I want to share.
I think we see something.
Okay,
there we go.
Slideshow format. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So before we start, I have a question for everyone. How many of you had coffee before logging in this morning? By show of hands.
I did.
Okay. So great. That means that you're fully qualified to survive this presentation and possibly even the spring market. So let's go ahead and dive in now that you know I'm hilarious. So what we're going to talk about, understanding the spring market, what's happening right now with both buyers and sellers, and what buyers and sellers should know to make smart, confident decisions. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to just chime in, just jump right in there. I'd like for this to be more interactive. Let's take a look at some stats from March 2025. Now, these numbers are specifically for Butler County. The median sold price in Butler County was about $280,000, which is down 8.3% year to date. The median days on market was about 4 days, which is actually up a little over 33% year to date. The new active listings, 427, and that's up about 3% year to date. And then the units sold, 318 homes, and that's up nearly 18% year to date. So when I take a look at these numbers, what I see personally, inventory is up, units sold is up, active listings is up, but also the days on the market is also up. 4 days on the market is not bad at all, but for anybody who's purchased a property or sold a property since 2020, who remembers that market when things were going under contract within a matter of hours, 4 days is up. That's an increase from something going under contract within a matter of hours or a matter of 1 day. So I'm seeing all of those numbers up, but that median sold price is down. So that tells me that the more inventory and the longer the properties sit on the market, it is giving our buyers a little more negotiating power. Not a ton, but some. So we're hoping to move towards a more balanced market. I can quite honestly say, just based on my experience here recently in the past few weeks, it's still more of a seller's market. We're still seeing multiple offers for properties, and still seeing those properties go for well above list price. Any questions? All right. So you say something, Jason?
I was just answering. I'm not seeing anything in the Facebook chat or the Zoom chat yet.
Okay. So what buyers should know right now? It's extremely imperative to be prepared, which means getting pre-approved. This shows sellers that you're serious about purchasing properties. Some sellers won't even take a look at any offers if the offer does not come with a pre-approval letter. That pre-approval letter shows the sellers and the listing agents that somebody, a bank, is willing to loan you the money. If you are a cash buyer, then it's important for you to provide proof of funds. That can be a bank statement, an ATM receipt, something with your name and your balance, just making your offer more serious. Also, interest rates shift. We, meaning just the real estate market in general, have been projecting that interest rates would decrease for about 4 years now. And now with the 10-year treasury going down, we think it's a little more serious. Interest rates as it stands, probably about 6.2 to 6.4%, which isn't bad, but we're hoping that interest rates go down into the 5% range. So because interest rates do fluctuate, literally day to day, that can impact your buying power. If you're pre-approved for $350,000 and interest rates go up, then your pre-approval may decrease a little bit. And to the contrary, if you're pre-approved for $350,000 and interest rates go down, then that increases your buying power. I always encourage buyers to drive by the property if you're able to. Often, buyers have a list of properties that they're interested in. I don't like people to get their hopes up or waste their time. So it's a good idea if you have time to drive by the property before seeing it, just to check out the area and see if it's something that you're indeed interested in. Because properties are going really, really fast, and it's important to be prepared and of course to be serious as well. Inspections. Everybody has the opportunity to have their home inspected. Because it's such a competitive market right now, we do see a lot of folks who are willing to skip inspections just so that their offer can be pushed up to the top when we're in these bidding wars. Of course, it's more attractive to sellers, but for buyers, it's very important to get an inspection. Even if you decide to accept the property as is, at least you know any defects, or you have knowledge about this property that you're going to purchase, because it is a very, very large investment, and you at least want to know what you're getting yourself into. Work with a responsive agent. Homes go fast. You need an agent who can stay in touch and act quickly. We could legitimately see something hit the market today. And if we don't go see it today, or we don't go see it at least by tomorrow, you may not have an opportunity because they go so fast. They go under contract quickly, as we saw in the previous slide, on average 4 days, but sometimes going faster than that. Contingency. So fewer contingencies equal a stronger offer. The cleaner your offer, the more attractive it will be to sellers. And then lastly, stay patient. The right home will come. So let's talk about what buyers should know. I'm sorry, let's talk about what sellers should know. So there's more buyers in the market, which means more competition. Many homes hit the market in spring. So pricing the home right is extremely key right now. The longer a home sits on the market, the less interest it gets, and then ultimately a price reduction has to occur, and then the seller ends up having to take less money in the long run anyway. So it's best to price those homes right at market value or slightly below market value. There's a saying in real estate, price it right, let them fight. So that's why we're seeing so many bidding wars, people pricing those properties just right below market value and attracting a lot more buyers. Statistics show that buyers are more willing to offer over than they are under. So if a property is overpriced, more than likely people will just scroll on past it. But if it's underpriced, they'll offer you even more money, and you'll have multiple buyers offering more money, which is going to push that price up and create a bidding war and ultimately net the seller more money. Curb appeal matters. Fresh mulch, flowers, painting the door, painting the shutters, all of those things add up. Anything that you see with your own home that you've always wanted to do, or something that you see that needs to be done, make sure that you do those things if you're considering selling your home. Also, having the home professionally cleaned is always a nice touch. Of course, we clean our own homes, but having somebody who comes in who specializes in that service to show your home in its best light before hitting the market is important. Yes, Jason, you're still muted.
Thank you. So I was wondering, like, if someone is planning to sell their house, what would you suggest is like a reasonable amount of money to put into the house when selling, to kind of maximize getting and maybe you're going to touch on this later, but some people might go overboard and put so much money in. What's in a reasonable amount?
I think that's a great question. So the amount is really subjective. It kind of just depends on what enhancements are going to net you the biggest return. So when I have listing appointments, I always ask the owners, what's your budget? How much money are you willing to invest to get your home ready for the market? Usually they'll say $2,000, $2,500, something like that. Some of the most important things just to make the homes more neutral and clean and more inviting. If you have bright, loud paint colors, make those more neutral. If your carpets are stained and can't just be clean, replace the carpet. Fixtures make a difference. That's inexpensive, but if you have an old ceiling fan, replace it with the newer modern one, or even a light fixture that's old, replace that with the newer modern. So just small things like that. And again, when buyers are entering a home, if your screen door is defective and it's hard to open, or if it's dirty around the entryway, just painting that, replacing the screen door, just those small things to make the home show better. But the most common answer that I hear is I'll invest $2,000, I'll invest $2,500, but it depends on the condition of the home and what needs to happen.
Zoo, so then I've got a question.
Mhm.
So when you invest that $2,000, $2,500, what could that return equal for me?
That return, you're definitely going to at least get that back. I would say you would more than likely probably get that back threefold, 3, 4 times just for something small like that. So I'll give you an example. I had a listing appointment, a house in Forest Park. Older couple, the house was just too big, too many steps. They needed something more simple. So they didn't want to put any work into the house at all. So I told them, okay, that's fine. And then we could list it for this amount. But if you paint the entryway, replace the carpet, replace some vanities, you could sell the house for like $50,000 more for just those small things. And I believe what I suggested, because they needed a lot more work than $2,500, it probably was going to be closer to $16,000. But we do have a program where we have contractors to go in and fix those things, and the sellers don't pay any money out of pocket, and they pay us back at closing. So I wasn't suggesting that they pay $16,000 today. I was suggesting that they enroll in this program, have those things fixed, and then pay the money back at closing once they actually sold the home. So we do have a lot of different options to help get properties together.
That's great information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. And then also for sellers, be flexible with showings. Make sure that the house is available to show. Sometimes we have go and show properties when nobody lives there. I can say, hey, I want to see this property at 12 o'clock, and I can automatically go see the property at 12 o'clock. But if someone lives there, then they have the option to decline the showing, to accept the showing, or to propose a better time. So that flexibility is definitely key. Sometimes I suggest, hey, if you can, how about you and your family go to a hotel over the weekend and just let us open it up for go and show. Now, they will be notified when somebody's entering their property, but at least they don't have to do the dishes, put up the dog, get in the car, and find somewhere to go for 45 minutes at a time, back to back to back, which can be frustrating, but necessary when you're selling your home. Take care of small repairs. Again, touch-up paint, loose handles, squeaky doors, all of those things add confidence for the buyers. When buyers start seeing little stuff, they start looking for more stuff. But you would be amazed at how buyers enter a home and they're like, oh, I love this light fixture. I mean, small things that may have cost you less than $50 can just make a world of difference when someone's looking at your home. Okay, so let's talk about some tips for both buyers and sellers. Be flexible. Be flexible with time. Be flexible with expectations. Be flexible with the process. Communicate clearly, whether it's with the agent, the lender, buyers, and sellers. Open and clear communication is key. And stay calm. The market can move fast. Staying focused and level-headed helps to make smarter decisions under pressure. So we often see properties that are for sale by owner, and that's completely the owner's prerogative if they choose to hire a realtor or go at it alone because they like to live on the edge, of course. But realtors represent clients' interest throughout the entire process. We help price homes accurately and review offers to explain what they really mean. We market properties effectively, reaching a wider audience. We facilitate smooth transactions, making sure that the paperwork is handled properly. We follow a strict code of ethics and maintain legal standards. We can't just do whatever we want to do. We have a license that we stand to lose if we are doing things unethically. And we're trained to communicate and negotiate professionally with all parties involved. And the biggest thing to a seller would be just the stress level in general. Why even deal with the negotiations and all of the paperwork and things that aren't necessarily in your wheelhouse? I understand saving money rather, but hiring a realtor, let somebody do that profession. Just like you hire a mechanic to fix your car, you hire a housekeeper to thoroughly clean your house. Let somebody who does it take on that for you, and it ultimately gets you more money as well. Well, and now I'd love to open up the floor for any questions. If you're thinking of buying or selling or just curious, I'm here to help in any way. So any questions that anybody has, I'd love to answer.
There's not a
Right.
question on Facebook, but Sarah Trowell said, "Nice job, Zubaidah."
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
So we do have a question in the chat. Is there any evidence in the financial benefits of using a realtor?
Thought you'd never ask. So the statistic goes that sellers who use a realtor net an average of 26% more than they would have had they not used a realtor.
Good information. And then I also have another question. So like when I get a pre-approval, is my pre-approval set at a certain interest rate, or does that going to fluctuate with the market and would be readjusted? Say today I get pre-approved and 6%, and then in a couple weeks it's down to 5. Would I get the 6 or would I get the 5%?
That's a great question too. So when you receive a pre-approval, some pre-approval letters have an interest rate on there, very rare. I received one recently, and that's the one that said 6.25 to 6.45. But how it typically works, it depends on how long it takes you to find a property. So if the interest rates are at 7% today, and we go under contract next week, and the interest rates are at 7%, then your lender is going to lock you in at that 7%. Even if we don't close until next month, and then next month the interest rates are 5%, you're still locked in at that 7%. So whenever you go under contract, that's when they lock in that rate. And going under contract means you put an offer in on a house, you signed it, the seller agreed to accept your offer, you have an address, that's when they lock in the interest rate.
Good to know.
And you can always refinance. People ask me often, when is the best time to purchase a property? Or we're going to just wait until interest rates go down. My response is whenever you're ready to purchase a home, that's the best time to purchase a home. And I mean, your credit score is together, you're working full time, you've prepared, you've saved some money, and you're ready. Don't wait for interest rates to go down. You can always refinance, because the reality is property values are appreciating at an average of about 13% year over year. So buying a property today versus waiting next year is not going to work in your favor. But if you're a home owner, then that value appreciation will work in your favor.
Looks like we have another comment in the chat. Do you recommend title insurance on a sale?
I always recommend title insurance, 100%. Every contract that I write write title insurance into the contract, if that's the seller paying for it or the buyer paying for it. For this reason, a lot of people don't really understand the benefits of title insurance. I've had several of my buyers come back because they've had issues, and thank God we had that title insurance. So just some different, a couple of different scenarios. There was one, a lady sold her home to, I represented the buyer, so she sold her home to my buyer, and my buyer lived there for probably a year, maybe even 2 years, and somehow it came up that there were still liens on the property. So the title company that transferred the property from the seller to my buyer did not properly clear everything. So they sold my buyer a property with liens on it, which is illegal in the state of Ohio. But because she owned the property, those liens would have been her responsibility had she not had title insurance. So all she needed to do was produce that title insurance proof, and everything was cleared up. Another very common thing that title insurance handles as well, if someone at the auditor's office is putting a lien on a property next door and they miskey it and put in one wrong number, now there's a lien on your property, title insurance can cover that. If you have a common name and you have a lien on your property because your name is, John Jones, title insurance will take care of that as well.
Well, it seems like title insurance would be an incredibly good value.
Yes.
I think Emily has her hand raised. Emily?
Yeah, so in a case of refinancing, or maybe not refinancing, I might be getting them confused, but if you were trying to drop PMI from your monthly payment, do you have to hire a reappraiser if you want to have that like 13% year over year gain in your property value? Do you have to have it reappraised for that?
No, you don't have to have it reappraised for that. And to drop the PMI, I mean, if you have a FHA loan, of course, you have PMI. Or if you put down less than 20%, you have PMI. But once your loan to value ratio is under 80%, that PMI should come off anyway, but you do have to call the lender and request that the PMI comes off.
Okay. So the value, if you're trying to, is the bank considering the value as it's increasing over time, or is it just based off of how much you've paid off the loan?
It's based off just how much you've paid off of the loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, if you're getting a home equity line of credit or something like that, then they will have to come out and appraise the property. But they typically do a desktop appraisal. They don't enter the property. They just base the value off of what similar homes have sold for. Yes, Jason.
So I've heard about these first-time home buyer programs. I've heard people that have used them to buy a house for the first time and liked the experience from a realtor perspective. What are your thoughts on the first-time home buyer programs?
I think first-time home buyer programs can be fantastic. It depends on the type that you use. Obviously, a lot of first-time home buyers don't have a ton of money saved up, so any help is going to be beneficial. There is a grant in Hamilton. It's a $10,000 grant in Hamilton. There's a $10,000 grant in Middletown for first-time home buyers as well. So for those particular programs, I've worked with them both. I've listed homes in Hamilton, and buyers have come with this grant. The grant does require that the property be in a specific condition, which works to the buyer's advantage, but it can be a little frustrating to the seller because they're kind of nitpicky. But if it's something that somebody needs, then by all means, there's a lot of different first-time home buyer programs available. A lot of grant money available. There's a ton of money available. I've had several, probably 10 buyers bring zero money to the closing table just because of these programs. I've had buyers get their earnest money back at the closing table because of these programs.
Are there any qualifications for those type of programs?
Some of them are based on where you purchase the property. Again, there's one for Hamilton, there's one for Middletown, there's a few in Cincinnati. So they're like address specific. Some of them don't have any restrictions like that at all. Some of them have the interest rates are a little higher because they're granting you those funds. Some do require you to stay in the home for 5 to 7 years, owner occupy, you can't sell it or anything, or you have to pay the money back. So it just depends on the program, what those stipulations are.
Lisa commented, how do people find out about these programs for help in buying a home?
That's a great question too. So if you're already working with the lender, ask the lender. If you're working with a realtor, get a knowledgeable realtor who knows the different programs and knows what lenders offer, which programs. I'll look at things like putting a puzzle together. I have this person and this is their need, and I have this person and this is their need. So I'm just trying to figure out how to put that together to make it fit. So if I know I have a buyer with 20% down, then I have a lender who can get us closed in 2 weeks, which is going to give us a huge competitive advantage in this market. Or I have a first-time home buyer with not a whole lot of savings. So I have a lender to link them up with who's going to offer these funds so that they don't have to use their money. I prefer my buyers keep the money in their pocket to buy a lawnmower or new furniture or whatever you need for your new home. So to answer your question, ask your lender and ask your realtor.
Tiff, do we have any questions on the Facebook Live right now?
No, we do not. Just those couple. Tracy Long put a heart, so she must have liked your presentation too, Zoo.
Thank you.
I think Lisa put, I imagine people don't even know about these kinds of things out there. I also agree. This is something I had heard of recently about the programs. Well, if any, I'll give a little bit more time for some more questions, but while people are, oh, Laura has a question.
I've got another question. So if I'm a potential home buyer, what might be some things that I do to prepare before I ever even contact a realtor potentially?
I always suggest contacting a realtor because even if folks aren't necessarily ready to purchase a home, at least we can get you on the right path to be ready to purchase a home. I think a lot of times people don't know what they need to do, or maybe they're working on the wrong thing to be prepared. So I always suggest, hey, talk to a realtor, talk to a lender. First, talk to a realtor and let's talk about the situation. And then your realtor can get you linked up with the lender. They may have to run your credit to see what's on your credit report, to see what your credit score is. They may say, hey, pay this off or do this or open up a credit card just to advise you what you need to do to be ready sooner than later. It's never a no. Sometimes it's just a not right now, but I like to work with lenders who are an extension of me. They know how I work, they know how I treat my people, and we hold their hand. If somebody wants to buy a home, we get them on the right path to be able to buy that home. So that conversation takes place first, get you on the right track, and I think that's the best thing. Go ahead and make that call.
Oh, that's super great advice then. 'Cause then you've got someone to guide you through this process because it can be a little overwhelming.
Yes, it can be very overwhelming, and to hold your hand and to check in with you. Hey, did you do this? Or this is how things look, or we're going to go ahead and run your credit again in 3 months and see where you are then. It's very rewarding. I've had some people come and they don't think that they're ready, but we go ahead and take a dive and they're ready. I've had people text me home, so I love this house, but I don't know if I can buy it. And they've been pre-approved like then and there to buy a house that they saw at an open house. Now that's an anomaly there, but it happens. It has happened.
Zoo, there's another comment. What can someone do to improve their credit score if it's too low?
That's a great question too. So I'm not an expert when it comes to credit. I'll tell you some of the things that lenders look for. So they are looking at late payments. So make sure that you're paying your bills on time. They're looking for accounts that are in collections that can be very, very, very harmful. So if you're able to negotiate with those creditors for a lesser amount to get those things off of your credit report, that would be beneficial as well. One of the biggest things that I don't think people take advantage of, if you have a family member, parents, grandparents, close friend who's had a credit card open for about 10 years and it's been in good standing, they can add you as an authorized user. And essentially, their credit score is now kind of transferred to your credit score because you're going to get credit for this credit card being open for all of these years that's in good standing. They don't have to give you the card. They will physically receive a card with your name on it. They can cut it up, but it's going to help you out.
Great. A couple things on Facebook Live. Jennifer Kendall said this is great information. And then Amy Giacchi said people can find down payment assistance programs at downpaymentresource.com. It's a free service. And then Lisa in the chat said, on the other side of things, what are some of the most helpful things home sellers can do to improve profit in a quick sale?
I would say to improve profit in a quick sale, we usually go over a few different scenarios. So improving profit and a quick sale are kind of two different things. Meaning if they're trying to sell quickly, sometimes they want to go ahead and sell the property as it is. And then I'll suggest a few easy things. Let's declutter. Let's do a deep cleaning and let's declutter. So we can get the house together with just a deep cleaning and decluttering, and get it on the market quickly. But for the most money to sell your home for the biggest profit, listening to your realtor, making those suggestions. We see houses every single day. We see new construction homes. We know what's popular. We know what folks are looking for. So just the suggestions that we make, if that's within a budget, fantastic. If it's not in the budget, we do have different programs, improve and move, that can make those enhancements to your property for you, those small cosmetic renovations that's going to drastically increase that property value. In this particular program, they get the stuff done in about a week. So that's what's going to get you the most money, making sure that your property shows in the best light, that fresh paint, clean, declutter, opening up the blinds, putting some, nice landscaping outside. Those things are going to get you the most money.
Then do you have referrals for those? So if I come to you and I need these things done, you can give me some referrals so I don't have to invest a lot of time in finding a painter that's available next week or whatever.
Absolutely. I definitely have referrals for that within my company and also outside of my company. My husband and I purchase properties and we renovate the property. So I have a lot of contractors who are perfectionists who do a fantastic job that I would be more than willing to share.
Do I have a silly question?
Mm-hmm.
What is the craziest thing you've ever seen in a house?
Oh my goodness.
I'm nosy. I want all the tea.
So the craziest thing was actually on pictures. We did not see the house because of the pictures, but they had probably 1,000 porcelain dolls all over like a room in the attic, and it looked like a horror movie. I was scared to look at the picture, let alone go inside of the house. So yeah, it's so I don't know if that one was for sale by owner or what, but yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I have a few realtor friends, and sometimes they're like, you wouldn't believe, the random things that we see when we go to list a house or go through, take clients through an open house.
Yeah, I had a colleague of mine recently. She listed a property and she said she was walking through, it's like, hey, you know I'm coming. And the guy, the owner, had guns and dogs and everything just in the house. So of course she felt super uncomfortable, and it was her job to sell this house. And she's like, you can't have this stuff. You got to put these dogs up. You have to put the weapons up. Like, what is going on in here? So yes, we do. We run into a lot of things, and it's like, did you know it was coming? So
Hate to see if they didn't think you were coming, if that's the options.
exactly. Is this the clean version? I don't know.
I've also seen recommendations that while you're touring a house to not make your comments until you're outside of the property with your realtor,
That is
just in case that there are this day and age where there's cameras and audio, you could be they could be listening into what you're saying.
Yes, that is very true. We just assume that we're always being recorded. They're supposed to let us know if we are being recorded, but obviously they don't. It's almost everybody has a Ring doorbell. I mean, that's good or bad things that you're talking about. You don't want to be in there saying, "Ooh, you know, this is that," or talking bad about the property, but you also don't want to go inside, "Oh, I absolutely love it." And then we try to offer a little less, and they know how much you loved it. So now we lose our negotiating power. So it's like, let's just look at it and let's go outside and have a conversation about it.
Great information.
Does
And
anyone have any more questions? No? All right. Zubaidah, I want to say thank you so much for presenting today. This was very informative, and thank you for making it very interactive. You broke things down, I think, to where we had digestible chunks that we could kind of take with us on our journey of buying or selling a house. So Zubaidah, can you tell everyone who you are with, where we can find you online, and how we can contact you?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Zubaidah DeWalt, Zoo for short. I'm with Comey and Shepherd Realtors. My office is 6764 Cincinnati Dayton Road in Liberty Township. My cell phone number, 513-254-8464. You can also find me on Facebook, on social media. I post little tips and videos about what's going on in the market. I'm a member of the Hamilton Chamber, so you can reach me that way as well. And I'll leave you with this. Even if I'm not the person who you choose as your realtor, interview your realtors. It's a very intimate relationship. You're with your realtor, especially buyers, almost every day, texting, talking on the phone. So you want to make sure that they're knowledgeable, and you want to make sure that you like them too, because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. And thank you all for having me today.
I love. So thank you everyone for attending our coffee and conversation. Now, if you have a topic that you would like to speak on and inform others about, you'd like to present at a coffee and conversation, let us know. We're always looking for conversations in relatively every industry. It's a great way to spotlight you as the expert in your industry. We have some upcoming events for the Hamilton Chamber. We have a networking leads at Taqueria Guanajuato, April 15th. You can register on our website, hamilton-ohio.com. It is free to attend. We have a coffee and conversation coming up with Cindy Keitel. The topic is evaluating your business like a car tune-up, which I love that title. Cindy's going to be presenting coffee and conversation on April 22nd. You can register on our website. On April 24th, we do have a Mix It Up, which is kind of like a happy hour networking, 4:30 to 6:30 at Pour House in Hamilton. They've just recently expanded their restaurant and bar, and they now offer a pedal wagon in Hamilton, which is really exciting. The city of Hamilton is also celebrating May the 4th with a 3-day event of things going on in the city. You can access the calendar on downtownhamilton.com. Again, that is downtownhamilton.com. And lastly, we have a murder networking coming up. This is going to be equal parts networking. You'll also get a murder mystery show. as well as a buffet of food. That's going to be May 6th at Collagen Lodge, not Collagen, at Collagen Lodge. You can head to our website to
That's a
register
different
for that.
event.
That's a different event. Y'all, thank you so much. We appreciate your support. You guys are making the world better. Thank you so much and have a good day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.